Hi, I'm Kevon Owen. This is Shawn Maguire. And one thing that I'm seeing a lot in marriage therapy right now is issues that, if I were to just sum it up to what's happening, is, Shawn, I think a lot of times husbands and wives don't trust each other as much as maybe they think they do.
You know, it's interesting. The two people that have committed their lives, their fortunes, and their futures together, unequivocally, don't even trust each other to parent, to collaborate their resources and money and stuff effectively, or even to manage and budget their time and their even external relationships, you know, what we're going to do on a Friday, where we want to go on vacation. And I see that progressively becoming a bigger issue in our society. And I think there's a lot of variables at play. You know, now more than ever in the history of the world, we all have access through our phone to a plethora, like a myriad, no limit of what other people have. These highlight reels of Facebook versus our real lives, they're not a fair comparison. And all these things that they put on us to ghost us around and follow us. You know, if I look up shoes on Amazon, then all of a sudden I look up something on my phone and I get an advertisement for shoes. And then I get an advertisement for something else. And we're taught to not trust in the society, I think, as much now as ever before. Because we've been taught that there's scammer calls, that's a scammer email, well, that's just a Ponzi scheme, and we have all these languages, we have all these reality shows saying, don't trust your spouse, don't trust your spouse. You know, they say, oh, I was doing great, you know, we had all these kids, and I had no idea he had another wife in Las Vegas.
What?
And yeah, Don't you ever watch TV, bro?
No.
See, that's his problem, he doesn't watch TV. No, I'm just kidding. But really, our society is created in such a way right now to not trust others, and that includes your spouse. And so if you're not intentionally moving towards building a relationship that includes unity, togetherness, building a relationship where you're having fun, where you're doing activities together, where you're making sure that you prioritize time together, not just transactional time where you're talking about getting the kids here, if we're gonna go to church Sunday, how much we need to budget for this, but you prioritize the date night, or you prioritize a walk on Sundays, or whatever those elements are for you that are healthy, then you're not going to move together. You're going to allow the world and the way it's created and going to rip you apart. And why would you trust anybody that you really don't feel like you know, and you don't have this great feeling towards, because you're not connected like you once were? And you may have never been that connected, but if you were, man, you're losing that love and feeling.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables that go into trust. One of them is, how well do you know the person that you're married to? And then know this, you're changing all the time.
In this season of life, how well do you know them? Just 20 years ago, my wife was different, than she is today.
And so how well do you know them is one. How consistent are you? I know what I'm going to do every time that I run into a scenario. Now, what helps me to trust another person? If I hire somebody, I know that they're going to do what they say they're going to do, or they don't. And if they don't, then I won't trust them. So how consistent are you in what you're doing? Are you doing what your spouse expects you to do consistently, or just whenever it's convenient? That's a huge question. You're different people. So maybe
News alert, different. They're different people.
Different people. One flesh. No, you're different people, and that are.
Yeah.
And if you expect them to do things exactly how you do them all the time, well, that's just crazy. I can say crazy.
Crazy, wow.
It's crazy to think that they're going to do things exactly.
Is there medication for crazy?
There probably is.
Probably is.
But allow them to be different. You married them for a reason, and trust them. Trust, like, if they're disciplining, they're not going to end the child. They're not going to lock them in the closet, hopefully. When you married them, you probably went through that. And so let them learn the dynamics between, your kids. Learn the dynamics that are there and trust that they're good. If anybody in the world is for you, it had better be that person you're calling your spouse.
And we're talking to the majority. Now, there's a lot of you out there that maybe you should intervene with your kids, and maybe your spouse isn't for you, you've cheated. But for the majority of people, give them your goodwill, give them your good intentions. Believe that when they're disciplining the kids, that they're not doing it from a malicious spot. And if they are, Man, you've got 2 counselors right here that have practices, New Vision Counseling and Consulting, and then the Owen Clinic that we'd love to partner with you. But for a lot of people, it's just making the effort to get to know your spouse again, making the effort to build a relationship where trust can flourish and grow, and to celebrate the differences that really attracted you together, because you didn't marry a mirror. You married somebody that was very different, and something about them was attractive enough to commit your life to and to create a family with. And that's where you can start walking to again in the future, because you can't go back and recapture the past. It's already been spent. It's already gone. It's memory. But you can create a future that, man, you would be excited to be a part of, that you want to be a part of. And so many people get caught up in all the trauma of our world, the tragedies, and there's so many, and it's so easy. But if you have a future that is compelling, and if you don't allow yourself to get stuck in the mundane of the day, of the hard things, and you think about where your marriage could be, and you envision, and maybe you go on a marriage retreat or something like that that's designed and intentional for you guys to connect and not just have fun at a beach, but you actually go through books, or you go to an actual counselor or things like that, well, then you're building something that is better than TV. I know it's a shock because you love TV so much. Just kidding, he doesn't. You know what TV is?
I have.
We'll talk about it later. But there's something compelling, so that when the hard things of life hit you, when there's that moment of distrust, or there's those differences, you have this vision of where you're going, of what you're building, and you have love that's budding in the process of getting there.
If there's a major thing in your life, like, I don't know, your spouse or your kids, and you don't like the way it's going, this is an incredible invitation for you to change it. Sometimes a little bit of help can go a long ways. Feel free to give us a call.
New Vision Counseling Consulting, Owen Clinic. He wears a shirt. Mine logo is actually on the inside of my shirt, so I can feel it.
That's the next video.
That's the next video.